Hello guys, welcome to feeding.net. So in this particular session, we are going to learn how to create a self-signed certificate using PowerShell code and storing it in Certificate Manager. We will also see the difference between a self-signed certificate versus the certificate issued by the trusted authority. Apart from that, we will see why do we even need a certificate and the process to issue a certificate. In the end, we will see how website uses this certificate to secure their connection. So without wasting time, let's jump onto the session. So let's start with why do we even need a certificate for a website. Imagine you are a small business owner having an offline sweet store and you want to take your store to online in order to grow your business. So here what you need? You need a website where user can create their account by providing details such as their name, their address, email, mobile number, and then they can place any order and then they can make the payment using their card detail. So here as a owner of website, what is your responsibility is that customer sensitive data needs to be secured over the network. So here there are two things. One is the browser, that is the client, and second is the backend server where user information is getting stored. And what is your responsibility to make this transmission over network fully secure? So for this purpose, you need an SSL certificate from a trusted certificate authority that will ensure the data across the network will be in encrypted form and that will not going to tampered. So here we have few organizations that issue a trusted certificate, and you have all the name DigiCert, Global Sign, Entrust, GoDaddy, and there are lots many. So let me show you a few websites where you can check the certificate details. Like we have whiteboardoffice.com. You click on this icon, you click on this connection secure, and you can click on this certificate valid option. So here you can see the certificate issued to this domain whiteboard.office.com for organization Microsoft, and it is issued by Microsoft itself. And here is the validity period, which algorithm they are using is SHA-256, and this is the public key that generally server gives to the client. So let me show you one more website, that is dictionary.com. So let me show you another website, dictionary.com. If you click on this icon, you can go to the certificate detail. So the issued domain is dictionary.com, issued by letsencrypt, validity period, and their public key. So I think that is good. Now let's understand the certificate issuance process. Suppose you have a website to deploy and you want a SSL certificate for it. So as a owner, you need to submit a certificate request to certificate authority. And who all are the certificate authority? So here are the few examples of certificate authority. So once you submit the request, the certificate authority will going to verify your domain ownership by either contacting you or by requesting document over the email. This is the example of a valid domain. Once CA validates your document, they will issue a certificate to you. So as a owner, you need to install the certificate onto your web server where your website is hosted. And once that is done, your website is fully equipped with SSL encryption. So that is the end of the flow. So now let's understand a self-signed certificate and how to create them. So self-signed certificate is generally created by the website owner itself and not by the trusted authority that we have already mentioned. So these are basically unsecured in nature. So if your website uses this kind of certificate, so user will likely to see a message that connection is not secure. That is means the data within network is unencrypted and is not secured at all. So let me show you an example of unsecured website. So here if you click on the icon, it will clearly say your connection to the site is not secured. It means you are compromising your sensitive information such as password or credit card with the attackers. So now we are on the most important part of this session, that is how to create a self-signed certificate. So for this I have pasted a sample PowerShell code in PowerShell window, and let's go through this code one by one. So here I have provided the certificate name, that is my self-signed cert. Then I have provided the certificate path where this certificate should get imported on my local disk, then certificate password, and then certificate expiry, that is 1 year from today. Then we have some important self-signed certificate property, that to provide the domain name I have provided example.com as a demo. Then we have a certificate store location, like where in certificate manager I want to store my certificate. Then we have some properties like friendly name. So what friendly name I want to provide to my certificate, so I provided the same as myself cert. And then once that is done, I will going to fetch the certificate from certificate manager and going to print the thumbprint. So now let's just run this script. As soon as I run this script, it has done all the required tasks and print the certificate thumbprint over here. And if I go to my physical directory, that is C drive certificate, you can see C drive certificate, the certificate is there. And at the same time, let us check in certificate manager. If I do refresh, you can see myself certificate is there. Let's click on this certificate to check the details. It says root certificate is not trusted. Yes, because since it is a self-signed, and you can say issued to this and issued by, and we have the validity over here. So I think this is all what we wanted to achieve from this session. So now let's understand how website use certificate to secure their connection. So step 1, website owner request for certificate from certificate authority. Step 2, certificate authority validates their ownership and issue a certificate to them. Step 3 is the handshake process, where browser initiates an SSL process with web server. So during this handshake, the server presents SSL certificate to client that includes the server public key and other information with them. Step 4, browser validates authenticity and validity of certificate by checking its digital signature and expiry date, and also they check whether this certificate is issued by a trusted authority or not by matching their domain name and certificate subject name. Step 5, once certificate validation is done, client and server establish a secure connection with them, means whatever data client sends to server, that should be in an encrypted manner. So now let's try to understand how client creates a secure connection with the server. As we know, to create a secure connection, we need SSL certificate to be installed on the server. So here server requested certificate authority to issue a certificate and install on the server. So now when client requests a secure connection request to server, and server we know has the certificate having the public key and private key, so server responds client request with certificate having public key in it. So now client has the certificate having public key. So in next step, client creates a symmetric key on his end and encrypt this key with the server's public key. So this is the encrypted key that client has. Now client sends this encrypted key to server, and as we know, server has the private key of the certificate, so server can easily decrypt this encrypted key at his end. So this is the way how client creates a secure connection with the server. So now try to understand this pretty simple example where client wants to send a message hi to server but in a secured way. So as we know, SSL certificate is installed at the server having both public key and private key, but client has the copy of same certificate but it is only having the public key. So here, using the public key of the certificate, client going to encrypt that message hi to YK before sending it to server. So here client encrypt that message to YK and send it to server, and then server using the private key of the certificate going to decrypt that message from YK back to hi. So I hope I have covered every topic, including creating the certificate, what is self-signed certificate, why we need certificate, how client interact with the server, and I will also share my GitHub repository so that you will copy the code of creating the certificate from there. Thanks.